Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically now today we are going to discuss about two more methods. The first one is defined as the setter method and the second one is the getter. So these two are setter and getter methods. Even we just call them as accessor and mutator also. These are the two another names for these methods. So we are going to see that what are these methods actually and how to how to code these methods and what are the things that we have into these methods, right? So the method defined within a class can either be an accessor or a mutator. So an accessor or a getter method. So the name for the getter method is another and that is the accessor method. So whenever I just say accessor or getter, so take that two things as same. Okay, these are some different names for one particular thing. Okay, accessor and getter are actually same. So an accessor slash getter methods returns the information about the object but do not change the state or the object. So basically what it does, it actually returns the information about the object. Okay, it returns the information about the object but do not change the state or the object. Okay, now moving towards the mutator or the setter method. So whenever I just say mutator or setter, so they both are actually same, right? So meaning for both of them are same, the only difference is between the names, right? So mutator slash setter methods are also called an update method that can change the state of the object. Now, just a look at the little definition, little difference that we have here. So accessor and getter methods actually they do not change the state, and mutator or setter methods actually change the state. This is the only difference between the accessor and mutator methods, right? Now, for each instance variable, a getter method returns its value while a setter method returns or updates its value. Given this, getters and setters are also known as accessors and mutators. That thing I had already mentioned here. No, not like need not to mention that once again. So this was the definition about and regarding the accessor and mutator method, that is setter and getter. Now I'll be just revising at the definitions and letting you know the whole detail of the definition at the point when I am completed with the code for setter and getter as well. Right, so let me zoom in here and let's start writing the code. First I'll be using out my getter methods. I will just give it a heading as well, getter, and here I will just write it as a method. Right, okay, now let's start writing the code for now. And the things that comes here is that firstly I will be defining a class. And let's say that class is flower. Okay, class and then flower. I would just put the colon here. Coming inside this class, I'll be defining the init function that we have. So div underscore underscore init underscore underscore and then the bracket, and in that self will automatically be passed because we are defining a function inside the class, right? Now, I have here self dot type. I just want to write self dot type here, okay? And for that type, I just want to give a type. Let's say any name for the flower, and that is, let's say I just want to add here a sunflower, right? So I had made the function. Inside that function, I had just used the self, and this self basically helped me to define the type that I have done here, self dot type, and into this type I had added sunflower. Right. Now, I will be defining, let's say, another function, and that is div underscore get name. Now, why I have used the get name? Because I am going to use my getter method. So, this is the place where I had just used out my getter method. Right. So, I hope that you have got an idea for this thing, that why I had just used this get underscore name. Right. Now, I will put out the brackets here, and that will basically pass out the self for me. Here I would be adding return, and that would be giving me self dot type. I want to return the self dot type that I have passed here, right? That will be returning me as an output here. So I have written into this get method. Now what I would just do here, let me just come down, and here I would be making the object. So let's say f is the object that I had made for this flower class. So f is equal to flower and then these brackets. After that, I would make a variable that is, let's say, a, and in this I would be using that get underscore name function, and I would be accessing that name function, get underscore name function, with the help of the object for my flower class. Basically pay attention towards my words, whatever I am just saying right now. Okay, so here I am making a variable, and into that variable, what I am storing, I am accessing the get underscore name function with the help of the object of my flower class, right? And I would simply print here as a small a, right? And now I would just run out my program here. So I'm just getting here the answer as sunflower, right? So this is basically how we just use the getter method. So read out the definition that an XSS slash mutate, getter method returns the information about the object but do not change the state or the object. It basically, it will, what it will do, it will return me the information about the object. And yes, it is doing the same thing, right? It is returning me the information about the object, but it is not at all changing the state or the object, right? This is about the you can just call it as getter method, right? Now moving towards the setter method that I have here, so I would just add on the uh, comment here, and that is I would just write it SETTER setter methods, right? Now into the setter method I would again take the same class which I had taken previously, because I do not want to like differentiate too much so that it would be difficult for you to understand. Okay, let me first zoom in a more. Right, so my class name is here again, that is the same, which is flower. Okay, and I would just put out the colon here, class flower, and then the colon. Moving towards the next line, I would again define that dev underscore underscore and then init again underscore underscore and in bracket it is self. Right, so this I have just defined it here right now. Coming to the next line, what I had taken, I would write here self dot type. Okay, not comma, it is self dot type, right? And that is equal to here as sunflower. Okay, sunflower. Self dot type is equal to sunflower. Moving towards the next line, I would be just writing here div, and let's give it a name. Let's say now that name is set underscore name, right? This is the name for my function that I am making right now. So div set underscore name, and in bracket the self will automatically be passed, because I'm again and again repeating from the very first of this video. Right now I'm just again telling you that I have defined this function inside the class, so because of that the self has automatically be passed inside this bracket, right? Now I would just again use here that self dot type is equal to Lily. Okay, let's say I just write here self dot type is equal to Lily. Now what I would be just doing here is that I would be making an object for my flower class. Okay, f is equal to flower. Then I just want to print the type. Let's say I just want to print the type before before using my setter method, before using my set name, I want to print out the type. Okay, so I would just use here print, and that is f dot type. Okay, that is type, right? Now after using my setter method, so now here I will be using my setter method, that is f dot set underscore name, right? name, right? After this, if I use out my f dot type, now just please pay attention towards the difference that we'll be able to see in the output. Let me just quickly run out this thing here. Okay. Oh, okay, I haven't commented the above thing. Let me just quickly comment that out here, comment, and now I will just run this once again. Great. Have a look at what output actually I am getting here. So the outputs I am getting here are sunflower and lily. So when I had just printed it before the using of my set underscore name, that is my setter method, before using the set underscore name, when I had just like written it, when I just run it f dot type, it was giving me this previous one which I had mentioned here in this init function, that is sunflower. Now after using my set underscore name function, when I am trying to print f dot type, that is the same command, now it is giving me the lily function, because it has updated the values which I had stored. And yes, this was the definition for the setter method as well, right? Let me just quickly show you that thing here, that a mutator slash setter method, also called an update method, can change the state of the object. And yes, it has done that thing, right? It has basically changed out the value for here which we had entered, right? Firstly we had written sunflower, so at the first it was giving me that same thing, but at the second position I have written lily, so at the second position it was giving me lily, because it had updated that previous value and given me a new value here, right? Now basically this was a long form which you can follow up for basically for writing out the setter method. If you just want to follow out one short form for the setter method, so that also I have. Let me show you how you can just write it in a short form. So simply define a class. Let's say my class is same, that is flower. Okay, I'll just zoom in this like, okay. Now class flower is my same. I would just define simply div set underscore name. I just not define that init and all that things. I would simply define div and my set underscore name, that is my setter method, right? Now, after that, into the bracket, the cell will automatically be passed, and even I've just passed one parameter here. And I would just write self dot type is equal to m. Okay, that I have just done. Self dot type, I have just initialized it to n. I would make a variable for my flower variable. Oh, sorry, I would make one object for this flower. Okay, that is my class. So f is equal to flower. After that, I would just use f dot set underscore name, and in the bracket, let's say I just want to set the name as Lily. Okay, that is single I, Lily. Okay, and I would simply print that f dot type that I have used above. Okay, that is type, and I just need to correct the spelling for the printer as well. Right, and now if I just run out my program, I would be getting the answer that is only and only Lily. So this is the short form that basically how can just use out the setter method. Short form for using that, right? So I hope now this must be very clear to you that how you can just use this setter and getter methods for in the classes. So let me just again revise out the definitions for you that are written here. So a getter method returns its value while a setter method sets or updates its value. Okay, this is the main difference which you can say between the setter and getter. So a getter method returns its value while a setter method sets or updates its value. Right. So I hope this must be very clear to you that what are the setter and getter methods, what are the another names for the setter and getter methods, and how you can just use that in the OOPS concept. Right. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.